Hey, and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to watch a video by the MainManSwe and kind of address some of the points he makes. Now I'm bringing up the topic of microtransactions again, which is everybody's favorite topic. But I've been thinking a lot about them with the release of Dragon's Dogma 2 and how everybody is livid about those microtransactions, which is a very interesting comparison with Tekken because everybody, in my experience, most people seem to be fine with the microtransactions in Tekken. Maybe even you could say happy about the microtransactions in Tekken. So I wanted to talk about that. I don't know if I would normally make this kind of reaction video, but I really wanted to address some of the points that he made. I just want to say that I really like the MainManSwe. He's a great Tekken content creator, and he's obviously very good at the game. So if you haven't checked out his channel, please do so. But here we go.
Be on your side if I would be on your side if the cosmetics made the characters stronger. They unlocked legacy moves. I would be on your side, without doubt. But yeah, this ain't it. Okay. If you don't like the cosmetics, vote with your wallet, don't buy them.
So this is a point a lot of pro microtransaction people will say, well, vote with your wallet, don't buy them. Yeah, but you should also say that you don't like them. Social opinion is very strong, especially online. And with these influencers that are like, it's not a big deal, just don't buy them. It would be better for the customer if they said, I don't like them, they're not good, they shouldn't be in the game. We should want to buy content. These cosmetics don't add anything to the game of any value at all. They're completely vain, and they're vanity. So if the publisher wants to make more money, release content, right? Costumes, they could have already been in the game. So, yeah, vote with your wallet, but you should speak up as well.
Or maybe, you know what, leave a negative review on Steam. You can buy outfits, this is bad. Go for it.
So he says this a lot. He kind of does this a few times in the video where he kind of makes fun of the people who dislike microtransactions like myself. I don't know. I don't know why. It kind of makes me think that he's shilling a little bit, but he's got a lot of interest in Tekken, so can I blame him? I don't know. But yeah, you should leave a negative review. The microtransactions, again, they only benefit the publisher. They don't benefit the customer at all. They don't benefit you or I who paid money for the game. So we should not be pro transactions as the customer. Unless you work for Bandai Namco, you should not be pro microtransactions. That's not anti-Tekken, by the way. So.
But what, yeah. Vote with your wallet, don't buy them. You can still play this game with all of its content. Yes.
So that's a fallacy a lot of people are making as well. Like, oh, well, don't buy them. There's still all the content in the game. Yeah, but nobody's talking about all the content in the game. We're not talking about the game, the base game. The base game is great. I think Tekken's doing great. Everybody likes it. It's selling really well. Base game is fine. There is lots of content. But we're talking about the microtransactions. We're not talking about the base game. It's the microtransactions that we don't like. And frankly, should have been included in the game with the full price that we paid.
Bagel, man, I just feel we live in outrage culture where people just want to cry about stuff all the time. The people want the Twitter, honestly, this is such few people anyway. This is Twitter and Reddit. Most people actually are quite fine with the Tekken shop and say, this is my guess by the way, they say, oh that's fine, maybe I'll buy a legacy outfit. But when it comes to people who spend a lot of time on social media like Twitter and Reddit, it's just the most negative fucking people imaginable. And they love taking out the pitchforks. They're waiting for any reason to go, and I'm just like, if you're so upset about this, I mean, what aren't you upset about?
So again, you know, anybody that complains about microtransactions is a crazy person. No, I don't think so. And I think it's kind of a bad take because honestly, any experience that I've had on social media, including YouTube, most people are pro microtransaction in Tekken. I don't know why, but a lot of the argument comes from like, oh, well, it's just cosmetic and it supports the game. That's not necessarily true, by the way. It doesn't necessarily support the game. And cosmetics aren't just cosmetic. They do other things. They take away value from the game because they could have been included in the game. And also, the devs spend time designing these things. They could have spent time fixing the plugging problem, fixing the netcode, balancing. The kids have spent their time doing a lot of other things that would have actually benefited the community. And also, again, I don't know why we're putting down people who don't like microtransactions. It makes me think there's a little bit of shilling going on, but we'll see.
Oh, they sold a super great game with a ton of content, and now those who want to can buy a little bit more customization for $4. If you want to, you don't have to.
By the way, you have to spend $5 for the $4 costume. It's not $4. You have to spend $5. Yeah, I know. No one's complaining about the content in the game. Again, this is another fallacy. We're talking about the microtransactions, and they're just not good. They're not pro customer.
I talked about this with my girlfriend yesterday because I was like, I told her like, oh, Tekken community is having a little bit of a mental meltdown right now. And I explained to her like, oh, it's because we're gonna, in Tekken 8, have a Tekken shop where you can buy outfits for $4. And she's like, oh, but you don't have to, right? Or wait, does the game stop working if you don't buy them? And I'm like, no, you still have everything. It's just for the people who want, you can buy an additional outfit. And she was like, so what's the problem? And I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I have no clue. Yeah.
Well, the problem is, again, like this is content that arguably should have been in the game. This is stuff that is taking away developer time. And it's $4 for a costume. Well, you really have to spend $5 on. What about all that fight game currency? I have like 20 million, 50, 60 million fighting gold from winning and playing and losing, whatever. I can't use any of that. Microtransactions are anti-customer. This is the problem. The game is fine. No one's saying that.
I just think people want to be angry. They want to be angry at the corporations, and I think it ties into want to be a victim all the time a little bit as well. Us gamers, we're oppressed.
I don't want to be angry. In fact, I'm not angry. I'm really not. I don't. I get more upset when I'm playing poorly. I'm not angry, but I do think that more people should be saying that these things are bad and we don't want them in our games. That's all. That's really it.
But at the same time,
clearly, Main Man has $1 to earn from the pro microtransactions stance he's taking. Yeah, I don't know why you have to put people down who don't like these things. Again, look at Dragon's Dogma 2. It's awful what they did. You can't even play a new character. You have to buy to make a new one, at least right now. And also, it is a trend that is increasing, right? This is another thing that I think people lose sight about. They lose sight that, like, where is this going to go in the future? You know, is Tekken going to become a free-to-play game? I mean, why not? Why wouldn't it? Look at Fortnite and all these other free-to-play games that are making billions and billions of dollars. Like $2 billion a year plus. You know, why wouldn't they just make Tekken free to play? Then you have to buy each character, you have to buy each stage, you have to buy each thing. This is what's gonna happen. I wouldn't be surprised. But when you think about it, I mean, it seems more and more likely that that's going to be the case going forward.
I also I thought about the fact that games, you know how people say like games are so expensive these days, you pay like what, $80 or something? I just remembered in my childhood, like in the 90s, like 95, I'm very old. I was around before cell phones. In 95, when I bought PlayStation 1 games, did you know they were $60 back then? And that was prior to, you know, there's been a lot of inflation since then. They were $60. And like...
I'm also old and I grew up in the 90s as well. Games were like $50 back then. Now, adjusted for inflation, they are a lot more expensive. They were a lot more expensive. But something about this point he's about to make that he misses is that games were physical media, right? So you would get your physical copy of the disc, which usually included a manual or something like that as well. And that holds value, right? Physical media holds value, especially games. I mean, look at the used game market. You could sell a lot of your old used games for a very nice price nowadays. So having something physical is a big deal, right? It means you own it. I know personally, I bought Tekken on Steam. Do I even own the game? I don't think so. I think I'm entitled to play the game until they decide I'm not anymore. So, you know, yes, but you're missing the point, I think. Yes, but you're leaving out important factors.
And games were so cheap to produce back then. It's the same with movies, you know, it's just gotten increasingly more expensive. And back then, you know, when you played Crash 1 by Naughty Dog, you saw the credit list and it was quite short. Or any game on PlayStation 1, $60, and it was made by 10 people. Oh, directed, produced, and coded by Billy Bob. Billy Bob from Texas. He almost single-handedly made that game. But that's how it went. It sounds unbelievable today, but those games were sold for $60. And now, fast forward like 25 years, almost 3 decades, and games are like what, $80? And I mean, in terms of budget, I mean, have you seen the end credits of any Marvel movie or any AAA game these days? It's like 18,000 people. Bro, it just never ends.
So, I'm not sure why he's bringing up the movie argument. I don't know. Maybe that's true, but as far as games go, yeah, the costs have gone up, but the profits for publishers has gone up higher and higher as well. Also, with the prevalence of digital distribution nowadays, publishers are saving a lot of money, okay? It costs a lot of money to physically make the discs, ship them, have them loaded up in stores, etc., etc. So the distribution costs are significantly lower than they used to be. And again, you don't even own the product, right? You can't resell it, right? So they're killing the used market. There's no more used market, right? I mean, how many people did you know that bought games only bought games used? I know tons of people only bought used. So that's gone. There's no used market anymore. It's all digital. So yeah, some fair points, but also missing some fair points, I think, about, you know, how much it costs to produce and make these games. Also, like, where is he going with this? That, like, oh, well, they're not, they need to make more money. They're not making as much money as they used to. Well, again, that's just not factually accurate. They're making more money than ever. So I'm not sure how that plays into the fact that, well, the Tekken Shop's fine because they need to make more money. Is that, I guess that's what he's saying, because it costs more now. I don't know. I don't agree.
Why? Because today, even an indie movie costs $40 million to make. A high budget, it's not even high budget anymore, saying $200 million on a movie. Rings of Power, what, 1 billion? $1,000 million? Games these days, what do you think it costs to produce a game like this, Tekken 8? Like, I can certainly see the budget on the screen when I play this game, and I'm not naive. It's like, this was monumentally more expensive than Tekken 7.
Yeah, it might have cost more to make than Tekken 7, but it's leaving out a lot of information also. The first thing is we'll never know how much it costs to make Tekken 8. Excuse me. Because they're not going to release that information. Secondly, they ported it to Unreal Engine for future Tekken projects. Development costs are going to be way less. Yeah, you have Harada saying, oh, it costs us 2 to 3 times as much as Tekken 7. I know, but maybe that's true. Maybe it is. But again, we won't know. We don't have access to that information. But and by the way, Harada's the one selling you these things. But future titles are gonna be way less expensive to make. They're in Unreal Engine now. It's gonna be really easy to port it up, next gen. So again, what, like, so your argument is that the game costs more to develop, so now we need microtransactions to justify that? They're already charging more for the game. They're already gonna charge more for all the DLC. And if you take a $50 game from the 90s and you adjust it for inflation, it comes out to around $120 today. Now, if you bought the deluxe edition with all the battle passes of Tekken, what is that? I'm not really sure. Is it like $80 or $100? After all the characters are released and said and done, how much money are you going to spend on Tekken? Probably a similar amount, not including all the microtransactions. So, yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, you pay $80 for a game, but also, in terms of profit margins, they must have made way more money back then. And back then you had record companies who sold CDs. Oh, you want to listen to 10 songs over and over? Here, $20. Here's NSYNC, latest. Yeah, 15 songs, $20. Like, you live in the day and age where you have a streaming service for what, $8, and you have 9 million movies.
He goes on this train of thought again about, oh, well, everything cost more back in the day and it's cheaper now. Yeah, but you had physical media back then, which again you can resell. It had value. Now you don't own anything. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That kind of idea. So, and to just, anecdotally, or, and to just say like, oh, they must have made way more profit back then. I don't think that is the case. You can look up how these companies are doing profit-wise, They release financial reports. Bandai Namco has grown every single year. Their profit increases every single year, so.
Back in my days, we went and rented a movie for $4 overnight. Back in my day. Well, I mean, you live in terms of technology, you live in heaven right now. You're in heaven. But your problem is going to be buying a house. And that's also my problem. That's where you're getting f***ed up.
He's not wrong about that. Houses are very expensive. I don't think that this train of thought is exactly defending the point that we need microtransactions in Tekken.
But I'm just trying to say you're not getting f***ed up with Tekken 8. You just aren't. When you bought this game, you got a ton of content.
Yeah, that's the fallacy that keeps popping up. Oh, you got so much content in Tekken, so why are you complaining? Well, we're complaining because microtransactions stink, and we don't want them. Microtransactions have no place in gaming. They're anti-customer. They're anti-gamer. They're only pro Bandai Namco and pro publisher. They don't benefit us, the user.
And you got value for every single dollar you put in. I can tell this game was made by fans. This game was certainly made by fans. And I think when they made this game, I legit think Harada put on the damn whiteboard or whatever, like, we're gonna make the best fighting game ever. They had very high aspirations with this game. So you got value for every single dollar you put in my opinion, and you won't be able to change my mind on that. This game speaks for itself, I think.
Yeah, the value's great. But microtransactions are bad. So it's a fallacy. We're not talking about the value of the game. I don't think anyone was upset about the game when it released. It got great reviews. Nobody said, oh, it's not a good value. Yeah, it's a great value. But the microtransactions, they're not a good value. And they probably should have been included with the game.
It has more content than... I mean, it has more content than Street Fighter 6 for sure. I mean, some of you love World Tour, I guess, but in terms of presentation, amount of characters, training features, dual story mode, you know, one massive story mode with cutscenes and then legacy story mode with CG endings, it doesn't compare. And the visuals, and again, amount of characters, how much they reworked the characters. The replay feature is pretty incredible, I would say. And then the fact that they also, yeah, sorry, I'm not getting paid by Bandai Namco here.
He might not be getting paid by Bandai Namco right now, but he has received money from Bandai Namco. I'm assuming. He recently had a video that was published by Bandai Namco where he was kind of talking about some of the aspects of the game. So, you know, Main Man, he's influenced, let's put it that way. How much, I don't know. But, you know, he's definitely pro Bandai Namco. And you can be anti-Bandai Namco and pro Tekken. Right? So, this is an idea I think a lot of people struggle with. You can be pro Tekken and support the game without supporting Bandai Namco and all of their microtransaction BS.
But they even said that DLC characters will get their own story mode and you'll be able to play the story mode without buying the character. How many other, I don't know, corporations would do that?
What a nice corporation. Thank you, Bandai Namco. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, what other corporations would add $4 costumes that you have to spend $5 on to their fighting game? I guess a lot of corporations nowadays. But it doesn't mean we have to be happy about it, or we should be quiet about it, or we're crazy people with pitchforks on Reddit and social media freaking out. But we should say we don't like it.
So no, I don't think you're getting f***ed over when they just say, if you want to, you can buy a legacy outfit for $4. That's not predatory behavior. You're not getting over. I feel like if you want to be angry at a company, maybe look at, you know, sweatshops, low cost labor in certain regions where...
So then here comes the other fallacy, which is a straw man fallacy. Oh, you should be upset with sweatshops, not microtransactions. Well, okay, there's a lot of things to be upset about, right? Obviously, we could be upset about a lot of things. And yeah, right, some things are more important than others, totally. But it's okay to say you don't like microtransactions and you don't think that they should be there. That's okay.
You know, the people work themselves to death for child labor. You know, there are things to point to and be upset about, and I don't think this is it. Yeah.
So, you know, there was a lot of fallacies in his argument. Microtransactions are not pro-customer. They're only pro-publisher. And I hope that everyone understands that these influencers that are on here saying it's fine, they can do whatever they want, they should be able to do whatever they want, while at the same time making fun of the people who don't want this stuff in in gaming, you should question why they're doing that. And again, I don't know MainManSwe at all. I can't say for certain. I recommend his channel if you're into Tekken, if you want to learn more about Tekken. But think for yourself. Ask yourself if it's a good thing that microtransactions exist. Look at other game with microtransactions and ask if they're okay, if they should be good there. And then make a decision. Vote with your wallet, but also speak your mind. So if you like this content, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I plan on releasing videos every week. I'm going to be working on a longer video detailing more about microtransactions, so look for that soon. It's a really interesting topic when it started, the history of it, and how it kind of preys on the psychological aspects of people. So look forward to that. And if you can leave a comment, it helps a lot. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.